Welcome back to the Crypto Strategist, everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day because we have a lot to cover. XRP is suddenly doing something that it hasn't done in a very long time, and the timing couldn't be more interesting. At the same time, President Trump is preparing a fresh round of tariffs. The Federal Reserve is showing signs that a major shift could be coming, and we're also getting another important update on the Clarity Act. The big question now is whether we're finally standing at the 1-yard line before a major breakthrough. Stick with me because every one of these stories could have a direct impact on the crypto market and on XRP holders. Before we jump in, I have one small favor to ask. If you're excited about crypto and enjoy staying ahead of the biggest market stories, take 1 second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us continue bringing you fast, reliable updates every single day. And as always, remember that nothing in this video is financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. With that out of the way, let's get into today's biggest story because XRP is showing some very unusual price action. Right now, XRP is trading around $1.15, gaining roughly 4% on the day, and that's what immediately caught my attention. This isn't just another green candle during a broad market rally. When you compare XRP to the rest of the market, the difference becomes obvious. Bitcoin has only posted a modest gain, Ethereum is barely moving, and Solana has spent much of the day struggling to build momentum. Yet XRP continues to separate itself from the pack. That's exactly the kind of strength traders watch for because leadership often appears before the rest of the market realizes something important is happening. What's even more interesting is what happened over the last several hours. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and several other major cryptocurrencies experienced selling pressure, with prices pulling back as traders locked in profits. Normally, XRP would follow that same pattern because the crypto market tends to move together. But today, XRP refused to follow the crowd. Instead of breaking down alongside the market, it kept pushing higher. That kind of relative strength is something we haven't seen from XRP in quite some time, and it's one of the reasons so many analysts are beginning to pay much closer attention. If you zoom into the chart, the picture becomes even more encouraging. XRP has started creating a pattern of higher highs and higher lows, which is one of the clearest signs that buyers are stepping in consistently. Instead of every rally getting sold off immediately, each pullback is finding support before the next move higher begins. That's exactly what traders want to see when they're trying to confirm that a genuine uptrend may be developing. No single chart guarantees future gains, but this kind of price structure is certainly healthier than the sideways action we've been watching for weeks. Technical analysis is really about understanding market behavior, and today's price action gives us a perfect example. When an asset keeps respecting an upward trend line while other coins struggle, it often tells us that demand is quietly increasing behind the scenes. Smart money doesn't always announce itself with huge headlines. Sometimes it simply shows up in the chart first. That's why experienced traders pay attention to trend lines, support levels, resistance zones, and momentum rather than reacting emotionally to every small price move. Markets leave clues if you know where to look. I actually spent time recently recording lessons focused specifically on trend lines, breakout patterns, triangles, channels, and other technical setups because these are the tools that help investors stay objective instead of emotional. Many people jump into crypto without understanding why prices move the way they do. Then they panic during corrections or chase rallies too late. Learning even the basics of technical analysis can completely change the way you view the market. It doesn't guarantee success, but it helps you make more informed decisions instead of relying purely on hope or fear. Of course, price action isn't the only thing driving attention today. We also have growing speculation surrounding the Clarity Act, and many investors are asking the same question. Are we finally approaching the finish line? Regulatory clarity has been one of the biggest missing pieces for the digital asset industry. Clear rules could provide companies, institutions, and investors with far more confidence when it comes to building products and expanding adoption. While nothing is official until legislation is finalized, the conversation continues moving forward, and that's exactly what many in the crypto community have been waiting for. Another major headline that deserves attention is President Trump's plan to introduce additional tariffs. Whether you agree with the policy or not, markets almost always react when significant trade decisions are announced. Tariffs can influence inflation expectations, business costs, investor confidence, and ultimately monetary policy. That brings us directly to the Federal Reserve, because many analysts believe the Fed could soon be forced into making important decisions regarding interest rates if economic conditions continue to evolve. Every major policy shift has the potential to ripple through financial markets, including cryptocurrencies. That's why so many investors are watching macroeconomic events just as closely as crypto-specific news. Digital assets no longer exist in their own isolated world. Institutional participation has grown dramatically over the last few years, meaning Bitcoin, XRP, and the broader crypto market increasingly react to interest rates, inflation reports, employment data, and global economic developments. When liquidity conditions improve, risk assets often benefit. When uncertainty rises, volatility usually follows. Understanding that relationship helps explain why today's headlines matter far beyond a single news cycle. What makes today's XRP performance stand out is that it isn't simply reacting to one isolated event. Instead, we're seeing several important factors beginning to line up at the same time. Stronger technical momentum, renewed discussion around regulatory clarity, increasing institutional interest in digital assets, and major macroeconomic developments are all arriving together. That doesn't automatically mean XRP is about to explode higher tomorrow, but it does create an environment where investors have good reason to pay much closer attention than they have over the past several weeks. As always, it's important to stay balanced. Markets move in cycles, and even the strongest uptrends experience pullbacks along the way. Chasing green candles without a plan can be just as dangerous as selling during periods of fear. The smartest investors focus on risk management, patience, and consistent learning, rather than trying to predict every short-term move. If XRP continues respecting this upward trend while fundamental news also improves, confidence could continue building. But if momentum weakens, disciplined investors will adjust instead of reacting emotionally. So here's the big takeaway. XRP is finally showing signs of relative strength that we haven't seen for a long time. While much of the crypto market has struggled to maintain momentum, XRP has continued building higher highs, higher lows, and a healthier trend structure. At the same time, developments surrounding the Clarity Act, potential Federal Reserve policy changes, and new economic headlines are creating an environment that could become increasingly important over the coming weeks. We'll continue watching every update closely, and as soon as something significant happens, you'll hear about it right here on the Crypto Strategist. Thanks so much for watching, stay safe, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one.